All right, so this is from CNBC. A Draper plan that would carve up California into 3 states qualifies for November ballot. A measure that seeks to split California into 3 states has qualified for the November ballot. The plan is backed by Silicon Valley billionaire Tim Draper, who previously failed in an attempt to pass a measure to divide California into 6 states. Draper's plan would create Northern California, Southern California, and a 3rd state named California, anchored by Los Angeles. Billionaire venture capitalist Tim Draper's initiative that seeks to split California into 3 states has qualified for the November ballot, but still faces hurdles to win a majority of votes. Draper's plan would create a Northern California state, which includes San Francisco, Silicon Valley, and Sacramento, a Southern California state with San Diego, the Inland Empire, and portion of the state's Central Valley, A 3rd state would retain the name California and include Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, and several other coastal counties. How progressive would our 3rd California be? I say our because I live in Los Angeles. I know not all of you do, but that's an interesting thought there. Santa Barbara is extremely conservative. Santa Barbara, that is like, I mean that is. I mean, I don't know, like, I'm trying to draw a comparison. But, yeah, Santa Barbara is just extremely right-wing. Probably the most right-wing town I've ever been to in Southern California, personally. Last month, the so-called Cal 3 campaign announced it delivered 600,000 signatures to qualify for the November 6th ballot. Californians deserve a more effective education system that isn't failing our families, more reliable infrastructure that isn't fracturing our communities, and more sensible taxes that aren't stifling our opportunities. California's diverse regions require government attention that is specifically tailored to address that area's needs. Dividing California into smaller states will help elected officials decide on which tax and laws and regulations best suit that specific reason, resulting in more responsive government. Congressional approval would be needed. Under the voter initiative, Los Angeles would anchor a new state named California and include 5 other counties. The state of Northern California would consist of 40 mostly rural counties and have its largest concentration of population in San Francisco Bay. The state of Southern California would include, okay, we already know this. If approved by voters, the plan to split California would be subject to approval by Congress. They would never approve it. At the same time, proposals seek to create a new California as well as a so-called Cal-Exit plan that asks voters whether California, the 5th largest economy in the world, should become an independent country. So, and by the way, there have been more than 200 attempts throughout California's history to split up the state. So I guess to end the show today, I should pose it over to you guys. Now I would need to do a little more sleuthing. Now I'm sure that this billionaire's plan isn't necessarily the type of plan I would want. I don't understand why it wouldn't just be a more simple Cal-Exit where you would just have California secede from the rest of the United States. I don't understand why it needs to be a 3-state plan. And why they all need to be completely separate entities. I would need to do a little more digging. I have a feeling it's for taxes that kind of benefit the richest among us and to kind of separate the schools for the rich even more, especially reading the explanation given by this billionaire. So my inkling is to say this probably isn't a good idea. But the question I'm going to pose to you guys to end, because it's a juicy topic, would you entertain the idea of secession by California? No, I don't necessarily mean this 3-state solution, which again, I don't know why that's the case. I have a feeling it's not for genuine purposes. But would you support a Cal-Exit in general, or consider supporting it? It's an interesting topic to entertain. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, so I don't entertain it very often. But since this is going to allegedly be on the November ballot here, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Is that something you support? I'll go over to the chat, see what you guys are saying. Matt says no. Zero Divisor says absolutely. A1 and A2 says yes, succeed. Sure, but it would lead to war, Ned says, so I don't know. I don't know if it would lead to war. Sean says nah. 17th Earl of Oxford says it makes sense for California. I would vote as a California resident for Cal-Exit from the U.S. I would hate to see it, says Celeste. Santa Barbara also has progressive college town Isla Vista, and SB just selected a pretty progressive mayor, but I'm from Nebraska, so maybe I'm biased. Maybe they're switching a little bit, Amelia. I've been all over this freaking country. I would say overall Santa Barbara is a pretty right-wing place. Of course, I've had nothing but negative experiences there. So my experience is also pretty biased. I'm sure I'll have better experiences in Santa Barbara in the future. One of my best friends is getting married there. So let's see. Moocher red states can go scratch. A1 and A2 says, I don't know because I've only been there 3 times. Lady Eve says, it will be up to Californians. Now, old boy, we don't need no Califexit. That's what Derek says. Jobo says, I don't think it's a good idea. Cool Dude says, I don't know. Daniel says, no. Ned says, I think it'd lead to AR-cuss? I don't know what that means. We need to stand together. So it's like that in Cal. You guys want to dish the rest of us. I don't, again, I would need to really look more into it before I said something one way or the other. It's not something I think about very often because I think the likelihood of it happening is slim to nil. You would need congressional approval. California is the 5th largest economy in the world. Do you really think the rest of the country would want to get rid of us anytime soon? I would say no. However, are there some frustrations when a lot of the blue states kind of need to fund everywhere else, even though a lot of other states vote against these types of things? Yes, there's some frustrations in that. However, does that mean we should demonize everybody that lives in other places in the country? Of course not. So, yeah, it's not something I think about very often. And by the way, I consider myself a cosmopolitan dude. I've lived in different states. I've lived in red states before. I've lived in swing states, and I've lived in blue states. So, I understand the complexities. I haven't given much thought to Calexit because I think it's very unlikely anytime in any of our lifetimes. Mike brings up a funny point. You guys gave us Reagan and Nixon, and now you want to bail on us. It's a good point. It's a fair point. David says, California sucks, bad air, polluted, etc. David, dude, the weather, you can't beat it. Just saying, buddy. Dogboy says, bye, Felicia. Okay. Daniel says, I think it would create more problems than it would solve for sure. I think that's definitely a fair point. It guarantees that Republicans have an easier path to the presidency. Yeah, it would. It certainly would. Although I'd rather see us just eliminate the Electoral College. Here where I am up in Northern California, it's all redwoods and clean air. Chuck E. Cheese says that. Also, a kid can be a kid. I don't think that's Chuck E. Cheese. That's somewhere else, isn't it? Where a kid can be... That's somewhere else. Anyway, I don't know. Fail. What about currency? What money would you use? I'm pretty sure they would use Placone bucks. I mean, that's what I would push for anyway. Placone bucks. We would totally do Placone bucks. Let's see. So, you know what? Maybe I would... If they use Placone bucks, I would have to support it. Sorry. Chris Walker says, Ron Placone for president of California. You don't want that, believe me. You do not want that. Craig says, Placoins. Love it. All right, you know what? I've just solidified my stance. I'm okay with California succeeding if the currency is Placoins. Sorry, can't help it. Wow, Ron. So, you know what? And everybody, we also have Placonium. Shout out to Brian. Good call. And, but everybody would be able to travel here freely. And I would be a kind leader. Everybody from the other states are welcome in California anytime. Of course, Californians are welcome there. And Placoins are more valuable than the dollar. So how many comb bucks is that, dear shoe keeper? One one cone buck is worth $20. So that's how we would do it. Because I don't want people carrying around a bunch of stuff. One cone buck is $20. And a Placone is worth $5. And lady, damn right we'd have municipal internet. That would be the first thing we would get. We would get statewide broadband for everybody. And all the municipals would run their own internet. Ron Buck. Well, we solved it, guys. Way to go. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.